So one of my New Year's resolutions this year was to start working in my sketchbooks. I have quite a few that I simply just draw a little bit in and completely forget about. So I wanted to use my sketchbooks a lot more and just use different materials and just have fun with it. I tend to do a lot more commission work, and most of that it obviously goes out to customers. I don't really get to keep these pieces, but also those are usually painted, and I don't really use pen and pencil that much these days. So working in my sketchbook has been really fun. It's just a chance for me to just have a bit of fun, let loose, and use a few different materials that I don't normally use. So recently I've been doing the 100 heads in 10 days challenge, but to me it's just 100 heads because there's absolutely no way that I can do all of these 100 heads in 10 days. Like, that is not physically possible for me. I originally started out maybe doing 5 heads per day, but my days recently have been quite busy, so I probably do like maybe 2 in an evening or 2 in the morning or something like that, just basically trying to fit in some sketches when I can. But I've really been enjoying them, especially because I know that they don't have to be perfect and they don't have to be exactly spot on to the pictures, and depending on the size of these heads I'm kind of giving myself about maybe 20 minutes on smaller ones. But the 2 that I'm drawing in this video, I probably spent about an hour to an hour and a half on each, just because they're a little bit bigger and I wanted to add quite a lot of detail. I didn't want to rush them, but I didn't want to spend too long, if that makes sense. I just wanted like a nice amount of time, but to not take it too seriously, if you know what I mean. So at the beginning of this video I showed you the Pinterest board of the 100 heads. This is just a challenge that's been going around on YouTube for quite a few years now, and I quickly flipped through some of the heads that I've drawn already, and that's kind of like where I'm at the moment. I'm currently just over halfway. So far it's taken me over a month. I don't know exactly when I'm going to finish this, but I will finish it in due time. I'm recording a big video of like the progress, but also I'll do like a flip through after I'm done. But so far this has been really cool to do in my sketchbook, and it's also been a great way of filling up a sketchbook too. So for this double page spread I saw these 2 images. They were a little bit further apart in the board, but I thought they'd look good together because it's the same statue. I'm going to include the name of the statue and the artist here because I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it correctly, so if I just write it I'll be fine. I really love the statue. I think it's so interesting. I'm always intrigued by statues just because I would love to know how they make them, like how they're created from like the beginning to the end, and the whole process of sculpting is just fascinating to me. I would love to know how it's done. I would love to try it in the future. I just think it's just amazing. I really like these 2 images. Basically for a reference picture this was like perfect for me to work from because there's a lot of detail that I could pull out and a lot of shadow and highlights and stuff. They were both really perfect reference pictures for me to work from, and because I really like the 2 pictures, that's why I dedicated a double page spread for these 2 references, and I thought these would look really lovely in blue and red ink. So for this sketch I basically just roughly drew out the outlines of like where I thought the placement of everything would be. I find it quite easy to draw when I basically sketch out some very vague lines, and then I'll use a paper blender just to blur out the lines, and then on top of that like I know roughly where things go, and I'll kind of repeat that process until I get some lines that are a lot more kind of concrete and exact. There's a lot less pressure when you know that you can kind of like vaguely make out shapes and then build on top of that. That's been like amazing for me when I've been doing these 100 heads, especially when I'm trying to replicate a likeness to the reference image. Using a paper blender has really made the process a lot easier for me, and honestly it's as simple as that. So while I was doing the pencil sketch I didn't want to add too much detail or too much shadow just because I knew I was going over it with a pen. The pencil was just a sketch and a guideline, and then when I felt comfortable I would get out this pen. This pen honestly honestly, for what it is, it's incredibly cheap, but it's so underrated. It's amazing. It basically is just a 4-in-1 big ballpoint pen. I'm sure you would have seen this before. You can just get them from like a stationery shop. You can get it from Amazon. I personally got mine from Amazon. You can pick them up from a lot of places. I just love that there's 4 colours in one. I've tried other ballpoint pens, but big ballpoints are just like, they're really smooth and they're really great for sketching. I decided to do this in blue and red. I really like the colours when you're sketching, and also I don't know which colour I prefer more, although I think I probably like the blue a little bit more. They both have like their kind of charm about them, and I like them both, and I really like the spread that I did. So for a lot of the sketching with the ballpoint, initially I start off with like a very sort of light hand. I think it's important if you're going to shade over like a large area, you just do like a very light hand, and then you can build up on shadows. I think it's just a lot more easier that way. But also, if you know there are certain areas that are definitely dark, you can just go in straight and just create those dark lines. But if you want like a nice sort of gradient, I think it's best to go in with a light hand, and then you can build up the intensity of the shadow. I think it's worth playing around with a ballpoint pen and just seeing what fits you. You'll definitely pick it up, you'll see what looks good, what doesn't. I think shading on ballpoint, it's very similar to like if you were to just shade in pencil, except if you make a mistake, you know, it's permanent, so you can't erase it. It does mean that you have to be a bit more sort of intentional about where you're drawing, but overall it's essentially the same thing. If you're going to try drawing in pen for the first time, whether it's ballpoint or ink pen, it does take a little bit of adjusting to, but honestly you will get the hang of it and hopefully you will really like it. So this is my number 55 and 56 of my 100 heads, and I thought I would film it because it would be cool to just film me sketching and using these different angles. And honestly, I'm really happy with how these sketches turned out. I did post it on Twitter, or X, I still call it Twitter, and a lot of people really liked it, and I just think the combination of the blue and the red ink, it just looked really effective. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed watching me sketch and use ballpoint pen. If you have any questions about anything in this video that I've not mentioned, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and I will get back to you ASAP. That's all for today. I hope this video has inspired you in one way or another. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel for more art videos, and also to see the completion of the 100 heads, because hopefully I will have that all done. Let's say in about 2 weeks time I'll have the 100 heads challenge completely done. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye!
Thank you.